Good evening. Welcome to SFLiberalBuzz. We're glad you tuned in, and I'm equally glad to be here. So is Eli. Tonight I went to a meeting, a lecture with Norman Solomon and a representative from, well, I'm going to show the video. It's a representative from the 99% Coalition who actually stopped the militarization of the Oakland police. So that's big. They stopped the trade show. They stopped them from selling the stuff, although we haven't stopped them from selling it everywhere, just at the Marriott, and it won't start till next year. So there's going to be more about that.
Of course, we got the October 13th comet flyby to Mars. Very big science buff. I'm like a geek and nerd. And woohoo, guess what? The U.S. Appeals Court rules gay marriage bans in Wisconsin and Indiana are unconstitutional. They are siding with the Supreme Court. Okay, and of course, everybody realizes that it now costs $2.25 to ride Muni per ride. And apparently nobody's complaining to Mayor Lee about how much we're all paying more to ride.
And how few buses come.
Exactly, about the improvement here. Well, there's supposed to be a Muni bond initiative that's supposed to be going on the ballot in November. Maybe this is supposed to help offset.
It's like, your transfer's no good, you're getting a citation. Officer, I've been here for 2 days waiting for a bus. Of course my transfer's no good.
And of course, yesterday Facebook was down, and they have no comment of why it was down.
Yeah, it was for a bit.
And maybe they have not released an explanation of why it was actually down yet. And of course, I had to tweet, maybe we all can go outside and see this amazing bright yellow ball in the sky. It's called the sun. Amazing volcanic eruptions throughout the world. You can click on the link right here and just check them out yourself. Pretty cool. Like I said, I'm a science nerd and a science geek. And the Caterpillar Comet poses for pictures en route to Mars. Here it is right here. The Caterpillar Comet, October. You can actually get a scholarship for JPL. I believe there's a link on the NASA website. I'm not sure if I tweeted that or not. And good news. Protest stop Vanguard's Ellis eviction of disabled tenants.
Yes.
Finally, yes. David Campos is behind this as well.
I saw that on his page. The activists, like Eli was saying, were victorious in rescinding the Ellis Act evictions of teacher and other tenants by pure people power, actually. Just people all getting together and, shaming them, basically. Liberal Buzz topic today is covert surveillance and remedies. So that was tweeted. The 99% presented Norman Solomon. They're SF 99% are a group that grew out of the Occupy movement back in 2011, soon after 2011. Well, actually, there's going to be, it's like a reunion and getting back together on Saturday the 20th. So I'm going to announce that at the end. And this is Norman Solomon. He's on Twitter. He just lectured the other night. It was fantastic. It's going to be on the Next Axis of Love show, which will air Friday the 12th at 6 p.m. Zaki Manyan, Bay Area Civil Liberties Union Coalition, is scourged Urban Shield Militia Trade Show at the Oakland Marriott for next year. And Barbara Lee also followed suit, Congresswoman, and a lot more has happened besides just that. There's a Senate bill going through now. Well, I probably won't have time to talk about it later. But there's a Senate bill going through now called SB 1320. No, it's an Assembly bill. Assembly Bill 1327, and it's for warrants for drones. So the police officers can't use drones without warrants to just haphazardly surveil everybody who's outside, and even probably send mosquitoes into your room.
Of course, the problem with drones nowadays is kind of difficult to tell if that's a police drone or a private drone.
And even cameras could be decoys as anything. It could look like a lamppost and be a camera without even, it doesn't have to look like a camera. And so BART police are targeting homeless individuals and families in San Francisco. At the BART stations, they've been rounding them up haphazardly, even though people have no place to sleep and they've been being crushed by elevators and sleeping in BART tunnels and risking their lives just to get some rest. So that's just, read the article. It's great, I read it. Ferguson, we don't have time to go into all this. We need an hour show. Ferguson is nearly 70% black and is a low-income town. No homicides all year until Mike Brown. For those who talk about black-on-black crime, I rest my case. And medical marijuana patients' defense affirms right of qualified patients who are members of a collective and end prosecution of collectives. So that's Scott Thomas Law. It's about dry reading, but I got through most of it. Human exodus may have reached China 100,000 years ago. So that was
Interesting.
Let me see if I've gotten everything yet. Let's go to the real synthetic turf war of San Francisco's public-private partnership with the City Fields Foundation team. And so that's basically yes on H, yes on G, yes on G, yes on H, no on I. That's Ed Lee's measure. And that's just,
Ed Lee wants yes on G, really?
he wants yes on, yes on I. He wants no on G and no on H. Medical care has increased by 601%, food has increased by 244%, shelter has gone up by 380%. Meanwhile, the pay of typical workers just rose by 10%. Well, a house is $1 million, and houses used to cost $2,000. So let's figure out. And why haven't the people who were arrested for marijuana offenses in Colorado been released? Retribution. Stephen Colbert demolishes Fox News over insane Ferguson coverage. Well, we know all about Fox News. So Liberal Buzz, we can always get to our show archives through my Twitter feed or through this.
The importance of local action in the fight against mass surveillance. But the Bay Area Civil Liberties Coalition has had a nice little victory on our actual efforts against mass surveillance in our local community. There is a trade show called Urban Shield that the Department of Homeland Security puts on in Oakland. And that trade show will be the following weekend. And we've had two asks. One ask is that trade show no longer be held in Oakland after this year, and that the trade show will not be held in Oakland next year. We also asked Congresswoman Barbara Lee not to hold a fundraiser at that same hotel at the Oakland Marriott where that trade show is going to be held, and she is not going to do that this weekend. The Urban Shield trade show. The specifics of what the Urban Shield trade show is it's essentially a vendor conference for militarized policing. So it's where the people who sell you your cell phone tracking devices, your license plate reading devices, your police body armor, your riot gear, come to market to local police departments gear that the Department of Homeland Security will kindly pay for your local police department to have. Local surveillance. So the basic sort of mental framework to be working with is whether or not you've been following what Edward Snowden is revealing about the NSA closely, or you've been sort of just getting a general sense that whatever can be broken, the NSA is breaking. Whatever data the NSA could be getting, they are getting. And whatever nefarious thing that they could be doing with it, they probably are doing with it. That's probably a good high-level summary. But when you look at the level of what that really means, that means that also the underlying economic rationale that makes that possible means that the same sorts of technologies, the same sets of techniques are being actively brought into your local communities. So your local police department, your local state government are facilitating many of the same techniques and tools, both for the benefit of the NSA and for their own use. And so really what Restore the Fourth is sort of interested in, and what we've been working with the Bay Area Civil Liberties Coalition to do, is to try to find points of leverage where we can actually, at the local level, bring this to a stop and meaningfully decrease the amount of mass surveillance that is in everyone's lives. So that's the kind of the mental framework with which we're working with. So we look at something like Urban Shield as an opportunity to push back against the mechanism by which the surveillance equipment comes into our communities.
Yes, Zaki Manayan.
Oh, but I apologize.
We're
butchering your name here.
Butchering the poor guy's name.
Yeah, look at my name here, ELAHU, and I butcher it all the time myself, so hey.
Yes, don't know. And we've got, what he was talking about, as you just heard, hopefully you heard it, was the Bay Area Civil Liberties Coalition, not to be confused with the Civil Liberties Union, were victorious against mass surveillance and war technology for the Oakland police to go. I mean, they're not going to have it at the Marriott, which is their flagship location to hold their convention or war tech trade show. And Oakland Urban Shield trade show will not take place. It'll take place this year, but not next year. So Congresswoman Barbara Lee has also followed suit, and she's not going to hold a fundraiser at the Marriott and that's really big because they were pressured not to by the people. This is a 99% coalition, and SF, let's see, I'll give them the credit in a second. Let's see, SF 99%, you can follow them on Twitter. They've got good things going on there. They have a lot. They had Norman Solomon speaking. You can get a sneak preview of him on YouTube, and also he's going to be on the 12th. So Zaki Manayan will be on the 19th on Axis of Love, and Norman Solomon will be on the 12th of September on Friday at 6 p.m. Channel 29.
Put those on your calendars, okay?
Yes, please. Urban Shield protects. There's an Urban Shield protest Friday in Oakland. I'm not quite sure where. You can probably Google it. I just wanted to spread the word. I couldn't find out when it was. Well, I mean exactly where and what time, but it'll be this week, Friday. And let's see. Also, I got caught now. Let's see. Drones in Assembly Bill 1327. The law enforcement will need drones warrants to use drones on us, except in crisis situations. So that's a loophole there.
What the law basically refers to is for the illegal marijuana grows in the hills and mountains and backyards.
And city cops.
For rooftops. This is the way they can actually check in on people. It's like, hey, you can legally grow here or not.
And LA and San Jose vetoed the privacy legislation. They have drones, and they're very persistent with their legislation, although
I have a feeling this can get pushed through because they're going to be talking about the usage of illegal grows in the wilderness and stuff. They're going to talk about stealing water shortage. Yeah,
they'll use it for all.
I have a feeling this may pass.
Let your mind, your imagination wander. There's all sorts of evil things that drones can be used for. Boggles the mind.
But there is a latest report that a news network called France 24, it's a 24-hour live news network in Paris. They recently did a story that how drones can help cultivation of marijuana and wineries. Yes. You can check it on their website, France24.com.
Well, you check on the plants and how they're doing, whether they need water.
Exactly.
And because, not everybody can drive a mile to the furthest part of their orchard. And so there's a movement to pass it in Oakland.
And help with the air circulation with the vines.
To pass this prohibition of surveillance in Oakland, and actually there was some other measures defeated in Oakland. They were the Bay Area Civil Liberties Coalition also defeated plans to expand the Oakland Domain Awareness Spy Center, which was $12 million or billion, $billion worth of surveillance equipment. That was passed through the California Senate Bill 828, the Fourth Amendment Protection Act, which prohibits California from cooperating with the NSA until they comply with the Fourth Amendment. Oh, please, let's have the Constitution back. The Second Amendment's fine, but that's all. I don't want that to be the only one we have left. I mean, I like it, but I like the other ones too. Organized shame on Feinstein, a transpartisan coalition to put on pressure on Senator Feinstein to stop defending mass surveillance, because she is one of the folks.
Did you know the latest study stated that the average person in America is either videographed or photographed at least 70 to 80 times a day? This is because of people's cell phones, security cameras, storefront cameras. Yes, images are basically no longer their own.
As soon as I walk out my door, I'm on camera.
Well, imagine if we lived in the UK, where London is 95% of the city is under surveillance.
Excuse me. So, Occupy SF Third Convergence, Saturday, September 20th, excuse me, that's going to be the third anniversary of the Convergence. So I shouldn't call it the anniversary. It's gonna feature speakers, it's going to be at Chelsea Manning Plaza in San Francisco, which is Justin Herman near the waterfront, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Hope to see a lot of people there. Bring your chalk and your slogans. And
your peaceful attire and demeanor, please. No
Yes.
violence.
Yes, violent. See, the Occupy movement, since the tents came down by the police and removed, and the FBI I don't know, society felt threatened by them, a certain segment of society felt threatened by these tents. It was just like, they didn't know what to make of it. They said plenty though. And since Occupy's visible presence diminished due to police attacks, we all get busy working with coalitions focused on specific issues. It's too easy to dismiss Occupy as something that ended, when we all know that the occupation of the economy, the environment, and our lives has only begun. The activist community has grown, and there are so many Occupy projects that have been launched since the encampment ended. So the Occupy movement is all of us. It's as long as we keep our awareness about us and question
Authority or question everything?
Question much of what you hear. Let's see, we haven't heard from our call-in guest, John
Yes,
Glenn.
Mr. Glenn, I'm fortunately
I'm sorry we missed you.
missed your call this evening, so, but we do have a few announcements for you guys. So,
Yes, let's get to it. Buy a street sheet. Please buy a street sheet, and I'd like you to talk about this too if you want.
how much of the renewed praise from the Prop G housing tax must go towards creating affordable housing? There is an anti-Prop G mail going on and mailing out right now. I have not got a Pro G yet, but I can explain exactly what Prop G means. In the past year, the average mean income rent for a one bedroom apartment has gone up by 13.5%. That's only in the past year alone. Supervisor Kim is issuing an initiative called Provision G to help offset this balance, which means equalized housing.
And these people are saying that
people are
it's
saying-
going to, they're calling it housing tax. So that
Exactly.
they're trying to give it a slogan that makes it sound toxic.
Yeah, the word tax is a very toxic word to the voters. This is why they have to
Especially
use the word tax.
GOP.
It's basically the standard marketing strategy. I would call this personally, I would call this propaganda. You can actually go on the website itself or contact Supervisor Jane Kim or the mayor's office, and you can actually look for yourself, investigate yourself, be an informative voter. Don't just go by what the propositions say, what the mailers say. Actually investigate yourself.
Well, and this, now there's people that want to see the soccer fields be dug up and you put fake grass in, actually a fake playing surface, which is, I don't think it's gonna, do you think it's gonna happen? Do you think that?
It depends on how environmentally sound the new turf would actually be.
Well, the stadium lights and the 55 trees they have to take down along with the wildlife habitat, and it's really close to the ocean. So birds might lose migratory birds might lose.
I have not read the environmental assessment that's been done on this project yet.
I had a couple shows about it, and then you can look those up on my YouTube as well. I did some interviews back in the spring with the Golden Gate Park, Protect Golden Gate Park, the beach chalet fields, meadow, and playing field wildlife habitat. And basically, they're saying that it should be open to everyone, not just a few people that want to play soccer. And I don't know, is soccer that biggest sport here anyway?
It actually,
These fields should be
sport is a
multi-purpose.
sport. It's educational.
It'd be good to see a multi-purpose
It's
field.
exercise for youth as well. So.
It is good, but they don't have to build it there. They can build it anywhere. That's a special place. I like sports, and there's two opinions. I think they should build them, but not here, because these could be used for anything. You could use it for baseball, football, but this is for soccer only.
True.
So I'd like to see it be multi-purpose.
The mechanism is that there are many vendors, many of them are war technology vendors because surveillance was a big part of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, who are coming and now are attending these trade shows, offering equipment for sale to local police departments, to the state law enforcement, for the acquisition of sort of data that can be stored and logged and made available to fusion centers in the NSA. So that's why we thought we've looked at this opportunity of achieving some small, measurable, important goals in terms of Urban Shield and highlighting these issues with our protests next Friday as a very important thing that we are doing on the cause of mass surveillance. So that's going on. And the Urban Shield victories are kind of a symbol of the fact that the underlying environment for this type of policing and this type of behavior from law enforcement is becoming more adverse for them. Ferguson has been a major symbol of sort of delegitimization of the police state. And there's really, on one hand, we look at Ferguson as a racial issue, and certainly those issues are more difficult in the South, but they're also part of the tendency of all of our police departments across the country to behave like an occupying force that need to be surveilling all of us all of the time because we may be in some way a threat to people in power. So when we look at what we can do about this, we have opportunities at the local and the state level to actually meaningfully push back. Probably another optimistic thing that has been happening in California has been the movement towards the passage of AB 1327, which is basically a drone warrant bill. Any drone that a law enforcement entity acquires will need a warrant to be used, except in sort of a crisis situation. And it's an incredibly good bill. It's made it through the Assembly, it's passed the Senate, and from what I've been hearing, I think Governor Brown is actually going to is under enough political pressure to sign